think we're good. Fortunately, I have my screen set up not too optimally, but should do for now, I think. Let me see if I can zoom out. So my plan for this stream is basically just wander the Commonwealth. And I'll read off a bit of the lore of Fallout, kind of like the timeline. I've actually got a timeline up that I'm probably going to use. And I'll kind of have to balance playing and reading. I currently have a mod. I have a couple of things set up so that there is, so that really only hear. Excuse me, I'm totally doing something else. I have it set up in a way that enemies cannot detect me. Therefore, there won't really be any combat. I've turned AI detection completely off, so they shouldn't even be able to detect each other. So the only loud noises I have to worry about is probably like rad storms or thunder, maybe random explosions, landmines maybe. But other than that, it should be pretty chill. My plan is just kind of to wander around Fallout 4, maybe making some comments about the scenery, and give you a little rundown of the history of Fallout 4, starting from the beginning of World War II, excuse me. There are plenty of events that differ in Fallout 4's history from our own before World War II, but most of the differences take place post-World War II, when the United States and other countries begin to use nuclear power instead of microprocessors. So that's what I'll be talking about. I have a little timeline set up that I'll just read through, and I think my intention is kind of just zigzag across the Commonwealth. Maybe go visit a few of the sites. I've also gotten rid of all music, all voices, and all radio, so it really should just be the sounds of the Commonwealth and my voice, which I've done some testing, and I hope that the audio sounds okay. I unfortunately can't go back later and adjust the audio because this is a stream, but if there's something wrong, then I definitely can fix it for next time. But I think I have it set up fairly well. So, got my character all set up. I've gone through the intro sequence, and I'm at Sanctuary right now. And we're just gonna take a stroll. So let me go ahead and move you on over to the game. Here we are. Pull that up. Pull this up. Just a moment, I gotta set up a few screens. Okay. Oh, switch those around. Pardon me. There we go. Okay, perfect. And it started 1939, at the beginning of World War II. And I'll pull up the game. And I do hope that the game isn't too loud. I've adjusted the audio a good bit, so we shouldn't have any problems with audio. I just made a very basic character. As you can see, I have a few visual mods, including, a bit of green to give the waste some life. shiny. And I've got the radiant clouds, so it makes the clouds look a lot nicer. And I've got a few texture upgrades, so say the road and some of the dirt and such. So that's what we're working with. Nothing too major. But yeah. Okay. I'm actually going to look at my map. And I'm going to take a little stroll. So let's first head to let's see. You know what? Let's walk all the way over here. You know, I know you don't go over there too often, but let's do it. Yeah. And sadly, we're not going to pick up dog meat. We're going to leave him there because he does make a bit of noise. And we don't really need that. We don't need a dog growling. So I'm actually going to try and avoid him just a little bit. I'm sorry, dog meat. I'm so sorry. I would never do this in a real playthrough. I always get dog meat. But we're not playing through the game. We're just taking a nice stroll. And I'm not quite sure how much of the weather you can hear, but I hope it's enough. So this is actually a bit of a test. Yep, they don't detect us whatsoever. We're just having a little snack. A little nasty snack. Okay. So, get myself comfortable. I've got a bit of coffee here that I've been sipping on. And let me double check. Yep, I can scroll through the page so that I can continue to read. And we're going to start. We're going to go on a little trek through the Commonwealth, a little walk, maybe a little jog. I think a walk would be just a bit too slow. Yeah, that does feel a little too slow. So we're just going to take a little jog. Get some cardio. So, our story begins in 1939. On September 1st, as is common knowledge, World War II begins. In 1941, Pearl Harbor is attacked by the Empire of Japan, thus bringing the United States into the Second World War. Approximately 4 days later, on December 11th, the United States of America declares war on Nazi Germany, an ally of the Empire of Japan. In 1942, the Sierra Army Depot is erected. Its mission is to store and maintain a defensive supply of military ordnance. And this mission continues until 1991. I might actually walk. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. In 1943, the Los Alamos Nuclear Research and Development Facility, codenamed the Reservation, completes its construction. And the Los Alamos facility becomes part of the research team for the Manhattan Project. In 1945, on July 16th, the first atomic bomb is detonated by the United States. This is a test. This was not an actual use. Oh, these guys don't sound too nice. You should see a doctor. But as you can tell, they don't even know I'm here. And that's just fine. Where were we? August 6th. The first atomic bomb used as a weapon, codenamed Little Boy, was dropped in Hiroshima by the B-29 of Superfortress Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets of the 393rd Bombardment Squadron. of the United States Army Air Forces. During World War II, the Army and the Air Force were the same force because the Air Force wasn't quite big enough to warrant its own branch. But after World War II, that became a real consideration, and as it is today, became its own branch. On August 9th, the Fat Man atomic bomb was deployed by the United States onto the Japanese city of Nagasaki. And on August 14th, World War II came to an end. And then sometime between then and 1961, the divergence occurred. On a somewhat unrelated note, but more related to Fallout New Vegas, on July 21st of 1948, a Boeing B-29-100-BW Superfortress crashed into Lake Mead, remaining mostly intact. In 1949, on October 1st, the People's Republic of China becomes the main political force in China. Oh my. This is a sad sight. Looks like an ambush occurred. That's a shame. Oh my, they really... So you had a couple of mercenaries and a traitor. Darn. What a shame. It appears we're approaching... I believe this area has super mutants, yes. This is one of the hospitals in the Commonwealth. Which hospital is this again? This is the Memorial Hospital, which... What does that say? Medford Memorial Hospital. We're just gonna walk right past it. Super mutants don't care. Don't even know we're here. Hey guys, who are you? Oh. You know, I never noticed that they use those as chairs. That seems rather uncomfortable and kind of squishy. I feel like you'd get your butt all wet from sitting on the blood. But hey, they're super mutants. They don't care. Now, let's see here. I need to scroll down just a bit. So, 1950s. This is when the estimated point of the divergence is. In 1952, the Miners Monument is constructed in West Virginia. I believe that has to do with Fallout 76, which I have personally not played. In 1960, on July 4th, the 50-star flag of the United States of America is adopted. I believe that is when Hawaii joined? I'm not quite sure. I wanted to stop here because I know this location pretty well. It's one of the points of where the Brotherhood sent a squad, and as you can see, they came under attack and had to kind of sacrifice themselves to make sure their technology wasn't captured. Yeah. They started a quest for the Lost Patrol. I believe this is one of the quests that you can do for the Brotherhood. And all of these suits of power armor are burned out, meaning that the metal joints are fused together, so that makes the power armor useless, essentially. And I'm not quite sure, but I believe they kind of sent their suits into supernova, or maybe one of the gunners had a fat man. I don't remember exactly what happened, but that's the gist of what happened. They were surrounded, didn't have much of a choice, so they had to protect their technology from letting from outside users and just melted their suits. All right, let's get back on the road. All right, where were we? 1961. On May 5th, Captain Carl Bell of the United States Space Agency became the first human in space, which is a claim that was disputed by the Soviet Union and China. And Captain Bell's flight in a space capsule Defiance 7 lasted 12 minutes and 7 seconds and made a full revolution around the Earth. Unfortunately, Bell died when the capsule crashed on its return to Earth. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that is a special for Fallout or if that's real history. To my knowledge, the Russians were actually the first to put a man in space. Now, it could be that they were the first people to put man in space and get them back safely. So that could be the situation. But anywho, in 1969, the United States created the 13 Commonwealths, creating another intermediate layer of governance between the state and federal government. And the national flag was amended to reflect this and depicts 14 stars. Oh, hello. You seem to be missing an arm. That's unfortunate. Oh, and an eyeball. Oh, goodness. Anyway, these 14 stars depicted in 13 in a circle to represent the Commonwealths, and one in the center to depict the federal government and the nation as a whole. Oh, nice little coloring. I think I see a... What is that in the distance? Is that a caravan? I believe it is, actually. Might go and say hello. Well, I'm sure you know this National Guard training facility. County Crossing. I do believe that this is a settlement you can use. There's already people here. Yes. That's why there is a caravan here stopped. Hello. Hello, Mr. Brahman. That stuff looks heavy. Oh, yes, I know. Mr. Moo Moo. Can't quite tell where the sun is. Well, it's not too low. So, I'll keep moving for now. But I'm not sure I want to go walking through the night. I don't know. Let's check my map, see how far off the trail I am. Yeah, I'm starting to get out of the way here, so I'll need to head back up and follow the road I just came down. So I missed a turn that I should have taken. Anywho, so that's where the flag of Fallout comes from, with the circle of 13 stars in one in the center. Is the 13 Commonwealths made from the 50 states. On July 16th, the Virgo 2 lunar lander, Valiant 11, with USSA astronaut Captain Richard Wade and Captain Garris and Captain Michael Hagen, landed on the moon. And these astronauts became the first humans to walk on a celestial body other than Earth. On November 14th, Virgo the 3rd landed on, Virgo 3 lander, Valiant 12 landed on the moon. So in 1969, in Fallout history, 2 crafts from the United States landed on the moon. In 19 78, which I'm not quite sure what this one is related to. Pumpkin house begins with 4 carved Halloween pumpkins for display. That's on the timeline. That must be important to something. I'm just not sure what it is. In 1992, the mission of Sierra Army Depot is changed, and it is now responsible for the demilitarization of stores of surplus ammunition that have been deemed unfit or obsolete for military purposes. Oh my, being surrounded here. Too bad they can't see me. And the mission of the Sierra Army Depot is overseen by the Industrial Operations Command in cooperation with the Environmental Protection Agency, providing a greener, cleaner way to dispose of military ordnance. And this mission continued until 2050. And I'm sort of stuck, I'd say. I can't quite get up and over this bridge. I don't really want to swim, but I think I might have to. So, if you're afraid of dark, murky water, I suggest looking away now. We'll just be swimming across this little pond here. Little river. Nice and easy. And we're on the other side. Okay. So now I can actually get pretty close to where I'm going. Pardon me for just a moment. Need to scroll down in the timeline. There we are. In 2002, the West Tech is founded. I cannot remember specifically what that's about, but it's a company in Fallout. Oh. Howdy, gentlemen. Huh. I think that's rather silly. Because I turned off their AI detection, they actually can't detect anyone. It's got silly. Well, in 2009, Spide's is established. In 2016, Wonder Glue is first put to market and becomes an American household staple. So, kind of like Crazy Glue, but Wonder Glue. In 2020, the Delta IX rocket was commissioned by the USSA and is the last of the manned rockets to the moon. In 2021, Huber's Comics begins publishing books, and one of their most popular comic books is Grobnak the Barbarian. Classic. In 2023, the earliest direct mention of a transistor is made. Yes, that transistor is actually what really put the difference between Fallout and our timeline, like the real life timeline, is the creation of the transistor. In 2026, the original Vim pop factory burned down, prompting the rebuilding of the factory, and it is eventually, prompting the rebuilding of the factory and eventually its recreation as a souvenir shop. In 2031, after the tragic death of Amelia Butler, the Boston City Council voted unanimously to have her remains interred within Old Granary burying ground. I wonder what that's significant of. I imagine I should know that. You know what? I think I'm going to take a look inside of here. We'll take a look around. Stop talking about history. Talk about the ocean. Oh, this is nice. It's a little dirty. Oh, I see we have someone talking. But I think I will go ahead and take take a look at their computer. There we are. User Jim Prescott signed in. Internal memo. We will be shutting down for the last week of October, while the bulk of our staff is in Monterey for the National Aquatic Protection Symposium. I will be remaining here to continue preparation for the harbor blockade to protest the war the first week of November. Remaining staff members, please use the week to coordinate with volunteers to get more sign-ups for the blockade. I will be working out of the research lab this week if you need to find me. Dr. Casey Reed. P.S. Jim, please remember to power down the robots before you leave for the weekend. Clearly, he did not do that, as there is a robot walking around. Or floating. Let's look at their goals. Here at the Nahant Oceanological Society, we strive to save our oceans by researching the long-term effects of radioactive exposure on aquatic life and working with the community to raise public awareness. We believe that companies such as Poseidon and General Atomics have gone unchecked too long, and that radical action is necessary to protect our world from a horrific future. Well, I think we can all see where that went. Didn't go very well. Let's see what's inside here, shall we? I can hear a Mr. Handy floating around. A nice little toilet. A stim bag. Oh, I don't have any bobby pins to open that. Oh, we got some ancient dead fish. These guys are probably 200 years old. They look fine. Oh yes, look at them. Missing a bit of his outsides. I don't think I'll have a chat with him. I don't think he'll have much to say. Let's head upstairs real quick. See if there's anything neat up here. Another Mr. Handy. A busted door. Oh yeah, very busted. Nothing in the desk. No more working computers. Another fish from before the war. When I don't have any bobby pins to break in there. So we're going to be a little cheeky. There we are. Oops. I think I just opened the wrong door. Interesting. It doesn't really work. Oh well. Perhaps there's a way. I think it's TCL. No. Oh well. It's no big deal. There we are. It's collision. There we go. Just gonna walk through a few walls here. There we go. Easy peasy. Nothing to read, it seems. There's a nice chest here. And a wall safe. But I don't really care about it much with that. So, I wonder if I can take a look inside the Oceanological Society's little warehouse they have out back. There we are. Oh. It's rather foggy out now. You can kind of hear the waves. Let's take a look in their research lab, shall we? See what kind of fun things we can find in here. Sounds like plenty of mire lurks, that's for sure. but that was to be expected. I'm not a fan of that clicking, so I think I'll find him and remove him. Yes, sorry, Mr. Fire alert. Oops. Hope I didn't just disable something important. You. There we are. That's better. Make a quick save. So this is their research lab, which seems to be somewhat flooded, sadly. They don't seem to have any terminals for me to read. So they were testing for, I believe, like the effects of radioactivity on aquatic animals. And clearly it affects them because there's a giant mirror walking around. Oh, here we go. A research terminal. Sir Casey Reed. Let's look at the research logs. Lobster growth. This is insane. An increase in the average mass by 14% in crabs and 12% in lobsters is not something to be celebrated. If this trend continues, the additional food necessary to sustain the shellfish population could lead to a colony collapse. I've tried again to bring our findings about the growth and mutations to the press, and those assholes at GNN just took our findings and spun them into a story about how great shellfish season is going to be. Nice. This is the 14th month in a row that we have seen a continued increase in toxicity in barnacles and cod. This raises the average month-over-month increase to 34% compared to those in the control tanks. We've tried contacting the Boston Port Authority, but they refuse to take or return our calls. Samples from Lake Quannapowitt. I believe this is the lake where one of the companies was dumping radioactive barrels into the lake. This is very strange. One of my colleagues sent us a sample from Lake Quannapowitt, asking for independent verification to compare against his findings. The radiation and toxicity levels are 15 times higher than the sample we had from last year, and well over safe levels for people to be swimming. I've sent our report back to him to confirm his findings. So yeah, one of the companies was actually dumping radioactive waste into that lake. Casey, I can't find the keys to our office, and I need to print out more of the sign-up sheets and info pamphlets for the harbor blockade. Did you leave them in the ship again? And there's a safe control, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, that's not safe. So, if I was not cheating, I could perhaps go out to the ship out in the harbor and likely find the keys to the office. So that's a nice little touch. But I think I'm done here. So let's take a look at my map. And perhaps we'll go... we'll just head up here. Not quite sure what's up there. In the meantime, I will continue to read. There we go. Alright, where were we? What year is that? That is 2130. In 2130, Vault Tech rebrands Morgantown's local university as Vault Tech University. And on 2034, the Delta IX rocket is converted for U.S. military purposes. Crew and instrument sections are replaced with a nuclear warhead. I guess that makes it the first intercontinental ballistic missile, perhaps? In 2036 of October, the Landview Lighthouse finishes its construction in Appalachia. In 2037, the Mr. Handy series of robots is first brought to the market as a general construction and maintenance unit by General Atomics International. In 2039, Prometheus Coal, a division of Poseidon Energy, opens a coal mine in central Utah as a result, a small village is settled nearby called Eagle Rock. Also in 2039, a early bug in Mr. Handy robots that caused interference in the operation of multiple arms fixed with a hardware update with no major problems since then. So it seems they couldn't do more than one thing at once. The Mistress of Mystery makes her debut in Hubris Heroes number 8, published by Hubris Comics. Now moving into 2040, where the Tibet's prison is commandeered by the United States government in association with Vaultec and Poseidon Oil to tie into their Project Safe House. On April 5th, 2040, the Secretary of the Army makes a decision to build a new disciplinary barracks with a capacity for 456 inmates. A cost ceiling of $363 million in allocated construction dollars is set. And I'm kind of wandering off of the road here, but I'll get back on the road over this way. Oh, I know where we are. Oh goodness. My apologies. I'll have to be more careful. That could have been very bad. And was unfortunately kind of loud. So I apologize for that. Should have been watching where I was going. Let's move around this guy here. Across this bridge. Let's see. The target budget year for funding this project is fiscal year 2041, and the construction begins in fall of 2042, with a completion projected for the fall of the year 2045. So I am unfamiliar with the Tibet's prison, but that could be part of either Fallout Tactics or perhaps that's Fallout 2. Oh, that's nice. Just sitting and relaxing, enjoying the view of the lake. Alright, I think I'm going to try and cross the river over there maybe, unless I can find a bed. It's starting to get kind of dark. I mean, I am here at the slog, so I think I'll find a bed here. Yes, here's one. I'll go ahead and sleep. Let's see here. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll sleep for 8 hours. Give me a second. I gotta scroll down in my timeline here. We're now moving into 2042. It's rather early in the morning. Oh my. Let's see, where's the road? Yeah, so it seems I could follow the road kind of that way. So I'll head back down and then around. there's a soft rain. Let's see, 2042. John Caleb Bradburton is an amateur chemist and began developing a soft drink that would provide energy, focus, and 120% daily recommended value of sugar. I believe that might be Nuka-Cola. A major earthquake takes place in Mexico City, and the Mr. Handy General Construction Robot becomes the leader in sales in Mexico. So that's likely due to their need for construction bots to help rebuild Mexico City. During this time, Egret Tours is founded. The Wilson Automatoys is established in Boston, Massachusetts. And Giddy Up Buttercup is copyrighted by Wilson Automatoys. I've always been curious to what Giddy Up Buttercup actually was. Like, I understood it probably could walk, but I've always been curious about how, like, did it pretend to be a horse and you had to, like, pretend to feed it maybe, or, you know? I wonder what it could do as a toy. Oh, I know this place. This is the asylum. Wow. Okay. So that's where I am. I think I'll start making my way to Diamond City. It's around there, right? Yeah, I'll head down to Diamond City. Is there a road I can follow over this way? There is. Might be able to head up north or head directly east. Okay. I'm actually going to turn on my light. You see just a little bit better. Furthermore, in 2042, on April 2nd, the city of Watauga, West Virginia, Eastern Commonwealth is founded. And on July 25th, Robert House founds Robco Industries. Very cool. Oh, what's this? This is cute. I can't say I remember seeing this. It's got a little open sign and everything. Oh, hello. He's got a little store set up here. That's pretty nice. I wonder if he has problems with raiders at all, though. Let's see, where am I at? Okay, not too terribly bad. So it appears that road is missing on my map. Anywho. Let's see here. In 2043, Mass Fusion is founded. So we have Robco Industries by Robert House and Mass Fusion. Excuse me, Mr. Siegel. Oh, what is this? Is this the Witch Museum? Yes, the Museum of Witchcraft. Ooh. If I remember properly, this has a Deathclaw inside. And I don't really like dealing with Deathclaw right now. Not that I would actually have to fight it, but, you know. Here's Nuka-Cola again. In 2044, the formula of Nuka-Cola is perfected by John Caleb Bradburton after nearly 2 years of work and help from his beverageers. Man, that skyline is nice, isn't it? Very pretty. And in the Great Passion Fruit Famine hits America, People actually notice the taste difference in Nuka-Cola when the passion fruit is removed. I didn't know that. So passion fruit was one of the ingredients in Nuka-Cola. It appears they had to remove it as passion fruit was unavailable. I wonder if that makes the Nuka-Cola before the passion fruit famine more valuable. You know, like collectors would try and find old Nuka-Cola and would hold on to it. And also in 2044, the X-277 Viper magnetic rail cannon is developed for the U.S. military by West Tech, but is deemed too costly to produce on mass scale and is abandoned. Let's see, I need to take a right. And this is the good old bridge again. Here we are. Well, I'm actually going to walk around. I'm not going to deal with crossing the bridge, so don't have to worry about swimming again. Hello, Mr. Bloatfly. Alright, so where were we? I think we move right into 2047, where Robco Industries becomes one of the most profitable corporations on Earth. They were selling the, what's that called? It's not the Mr. Handy, that's done by someone else. But the no, I can't think of it for some reason. Oh hey, I saw him at that settlement some time ago. That's pretty cool. Also in 2047, Shannon Rivers makes her radio debut as part of the Invaders from Planet Z radio program. In 2050, the Nuka World power plant suffers from a meltdown just a few months before the park was scheduled to first open. That's unfortunate. On May 1st, Nuka World is opened to the public, with Nuketown, USA, and Kitty Kingdom being the only parks. The theme park attracted more than 40,000 visitors at its grand opening. Very cool. So it's kind of like Disneyland, except it's set up in 2050. It does make me wonder if Disneyland was ever created. Excuse me, I have to scroll down again. Oh, there we go. The mission of the Sierra Army Depot is changed once again, and it is refurbished to the latest in technology and is now from now on used as a secret research installation for developing and testing robotic, biological, and conventional weapons until 2076. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm going the right way here. In 2051, seeking to protect business interests and their oil supply, the United States begins to exert increasing pressure on Mexico, citing the political instability and pollution stemming from Mexico as a threat to the United States. Various economic sanctions serve to destabilize Mexico, and the United States military enters Mexico to keep the oil refineries running, making sure oil and fuel continue to make their way across the north border at Mexico's expense. You know, that doesn't sound a lot unlike America with like the Middle East. But I won't get into politics. Politics is a messy situation. And oil is even messier. The N99 10mm pistol becomes standard issue military sidearm following the phase out of the N80. I'm actually curious about that N80. What it was. The Weston Water Treatment Plant was built as part of a decade-long plan to modernize Boston's aging sanitary systems. Just want to make sure I'm going the right way here. And finally, in 2051, the Shannon River begins her long-running role as radio voice of the Mistress of Mystery. Well, we're actually getting a good sight of the skyline of Boston downtown now. And with the morning sun coming up, that actually looks fantastic. Oh, and of course there we have a crashed ship. Okay, so I hope there isn't any gunfighting going on, but there might be. So I think we'll be alright. Give it a shot. The AI can't detect anything anyway, so I doubt they'll be able to shoot at each other. Now we're moving into 2052, when America begins suffering from an energy crisis, prompting companies like Repcon Aerospace to begin development of new fuel sources. So they were still using oil by this time, it seems, and started to move into, I suppose, like fusion, like more heavily. A television documentary reveals the withered husk of the Texas oil fields and brings the oil shortage into American households and reveals how deep the energy crisis goes. Let's see here. Okay. The last manned spaceflight to the moon to be performed by the USSA takes place. On that flight, the astronauts recover the flag planted on the surface by the Valiant 12 team. I'm glad I dodged all that. Apologize for that. Can't really keep an eye on the ground while I'm trying to read. I'm sorry. But thankfully that wasn't too terribly loud. And now we're moving into downtown Boston. Gonna have a lot of sounds of creaking metal and possibly gunfire, but I hope not. I'll be zigzagging as best I can, but I only have one eye on the game while I'm reading, so I'll only be paying half attention. I think it's very possible I could run into more landmines. My, that train fell off its tracks. Oh my. I'm actually curious about going up there. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna head up there. If I can. Oh, right. There we are. Okay. Let's see. The widely known Nuka-Cola's dazzling blue bottle color was adopted as a standard after market research indicates that blue color was the favorite in 86 people out of 100 polled. So the Nuka-Cola changed their bottle color to blue, because I guess people like the color blue. I think I'm going to stay kind of in this no collision, and I'll just kind of fly around a little bit, at least to these different parts of the highway, just so we can kind of stay above the mess of the street, and kind of get some better shots of the skyline and the skyscrapers and such. Okay, probably can turn off the no collision now. There we are. Oh, look at that. We have a few super mutants up here. Just chilling. Fallen Sky Bridge. Oh, I see. It's because this building collapsed. Hmm. Very cool. So, um, on March 5th, the United States closes its borders. Interesting. In April, the resource wars begin. Smaller nations go bankrupt as the European Commonwealth declares war on the Middle East in response to rising oil prices. Okay. In May, the allying United Nations begins to collapse. In a series of heated debates, many nations withdraw from the organization as the UN tries to keep the peace. So the UN was still established after World War II. Just in this case, it fell apart as the resource wars began. In July, the Linden Street slayings of the Pint-Side Slasher take place. And in July 26th, the United Nations is officially disbanded. Let's see here. In 2053, the socially transmitted new plague arises, killing tens of thousands. The United States closes its borders and the first ever national quarantine is declared. The source of the plague is unknown, but rumors persist that it is genetically engineered weapons. That could be a possibility. Perhaps the Chinese or the Russians made a genetic bomb, a genetic weapon. Hello, kitty. Aren't you cute? You're looking a little derpy, but that's okay. This is a nice little spot. Wow. I'm waking up to this view every morning. I wonder where the owner is. Actually, I want to take this down and see what's down here. Oh, I know this place, I think. Yeah. Okay. This is pretty neat. Alright, well, I'm gonna go back up. I want to keep walking on the highway. Pardon me, flying on the highway because it's a bit of a mess down in the street. Let's see, where were we? ZAX 1.0 goes online, developed by Vaultec Industries. Initially a prototype of some of the systems designed to govern the vaults. It is given to the government to help the Department of Energy collect resource data. Within a year, it is taken by the military for plague and tactical research. One version, ZX 1.2, would later be constructed for West Tech. So during this time, the plague was going on and they wanted to do some research. U.S. robotics disposal is founded in 2053. And Shannon Rivers and Frederick Rivers get married. That's nice. I don't remember who they are. In December, like an exclamation mark on the end of a very bad year, a terrorist nuclear weapon destroys Tel Aviv. Oh my, that's unfortunate. I wonder where Tel Aviv is. Might look that up later. Repcom Aerospace is founded following the first launch of the Delta IX rocket in 2054. That doesn't sound quite right. I believe the Delta IX rocket was previously used, wasn't it? In January, limited nuclear exchange in the Middle East raises fears throughout the world. I think I just got shot. Yeah, I did. Look at that. Look at them down there. Oh, Repcon Aerospace. Okay. In light of the European Middle Eastern War and the Plague Scare, the United States officially sets Project Safehouse in motion. The project, financed by junk bonds, is designed to create shelters called vaults for the populace in an event of a nuclear war or deadly plague. Construction begins in late 2054 and proceeds rapidly due to advances in construction technology. Well, here we are in Quincy, where the gunners have really taken over. Unfortunately, they kicked out the Minutemen and all the settlers that lived here and have taken it for their own. Let's see. I think we're moving into 2055 now. Oh, pardon me, I have to do a little cheating here. West Tech Research Facility is established to continue work on a cure for the new plague, and their viral research and close ties to the federal government eventually lead them to being chosen for the Pan-Immunity Virion project 20 years later, as well as the power infantry armor and laser research. I think I'm starting to run out of road here. I am. So I think I'll drop down and follow it back. Maybe circle this way through the swamps, head up north, and enter Diamond City through the south. Yeah, I'll do that. So I need to turn on no collision and go down to the street. There we are. Okay. So, also in 2055, the ZIX 1.2 is brought in to regulate conditions in West Tech. It's not part of the Vault Tech preservation software, so it does not have any orders to protect humanity after the bombs fall. In the meantime, it calmly calculates data and plays chess with the scientists. Many scientists claim that Zax is a big old cheater and draws the game out too much for a computer of his considerable abilities, pardon me. Perhaps he's trying. Oh, I apologize about that. Do I have? I do. Use a stim pack here. Don't need to be dying in my nice little stroll to the Commonwealth, now do I? Speaking of which, did I take a wrong turn? Sort of. Let's see here. Open this gate. And we'll make our way back onto the street. And hopefully not run into any more landmines like I just did. Oh, somebody's shooting at me. Let's see. Oh, what's this, actually? Where are you? Oh, just a wastelander. Walking through the wastes. And here we have something interesting. A little memorial. Oh. That's actually kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not sure why you'd want to wear your helmet, but maybe coming to pay his respects. You know, parked his car. Side of this nice little memorial. With a flag that could have been from one of his buddies. I'll let him rest. Oh, it's radiation. Don't need to be playing with that. Let's see, where were we? Hallucinogen Incorporated. introduced their crowd control gas in 2055. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just follow this way. In 2056, the Integrated Human Resources Management System, version 2.3, a joint product of the District of Columbia Office of Software Management and the United States Office of Computational Organization, as part of a contract with Computectron, was implemented. That has a lot of long words, but that's the government for you, at least in Fallout. Pardon me, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. In February, the United States government removes the Grand Canyon's protected status as a national park, which that's an interesting thing to do. Wonder why they did that. Oh, it tells you exactly why in the next sentence. In May, the uranium mining begins in the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon is closed indefinitely. So, they found uranium in the Grand Canyon, and they closed it as a national park so that they could mine the uranium, which, considering the resource crisis, you know, is a terrible thing to do, but humans are kind of like that, yeah. Let's see here, on March 15th through June 15th to July 15th, due to some shipping error, the Zion Canyon General Store had yet to receive its supply of deluxe Mountain Man all-in-one survival kits, which it ordered 3 weeks prior. 1 month later, the shipping company, instead of delivering survival gear, delivered crates of Dinky the Dinosaur, trademark, officially licensed Dino Action Dolls. Oh, that's not what they wanted at all. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness indeed. We're gonna just move on through here. Lots of big, loud noises going on that we don't need to be a part of. Let's see here. Isla Negra Holdings begins to take control of Point Lookout, Maryland, as the new plague devastates the region. And the Dry Rock Gulch part of Nuka World opens in 2058. In 2059, the Anchorage Front Line is established as the United States increases its military presence in Alaska to protect its oil interests. The Anchorage Front Line causes tensions in the United States and Canada, as the United States attempts to pressure Canada into allowing American military units to guard the Alaskan pipeline. So I guess Canada didn't want American military forces guarding their pipeline of oil through Canada. Uh, 2059, the first artificial intelligence is born. Limited by memory constraints, its expansion is rapidly halted. This discovery paves the way for future AI research in laboratories throughout the United States. Oh, this isn't the Diamond City at all. It's close though, it's just up there. I'd be able to go into Diamond City and check it out. Have a little look around. I believe this is an entrance. Oh, can't quite get in there. Let's see here. Oh, I think that was just a raider camp. It's a good thing I didn't go in there. Oh, Diamond City's just over here. That's right. Here we are. Well, I know this is going to be a loud noise, and it's a bit of dialogue, but I think we'll get inside. Just help Piper out here. I got orders not to let you in, Miss Piper. I'm sorry. I'm just doing my job. Oh, just doing your job. Protecting Diamond City keeps keeping me out? Is that it? Oh, look, it's the scary reporter. I'm sorry, but the mayor's really steamed, Piper, saying that article you wrote is all lies. And they're talking much faster than I want to talk, so she wants him to open the gate, and she eventually convinces him with the use of the player, acting as if the player is a traitor. So Piper pretends that I'm a trader with lots of supplies to sell. And she's trying to guilt the guard into opening the gate. You know, I'm curious if you can find the person that actually does the gate guarding, like Danny Sullivan. I'm not sure if I could find him. Oh, good. Diamond City's opening up. Very cool. Oh, I see how they did that. It's two construction diggers they've got attached to the door. That's pretty cool. We're just gonna go ahead and go on in. We don't need to listen to them talk. And here we are in Diamond City. Very cool. We're gonna take a little stroll around here. There's the public occurrences, where they print the local newspaper. Just a house. And here we have one of the stores being choice chops. Turn meat into food. Here we have Super Salon. Cut your hair, do you up a little bit. Of course, we have Power Noodles with their robot that only says one thing. And here we have Mega Surgery. You can get some plastic surgery, get some rads taken away from you and healed up. And here you have Chem Eye Care. Chem 1 Care? Yeah. So you can get your drugs, your chems. Get your chems there. And here we have Diamond City Surplus, or just a general store. And the Commonwealth Weaponry, where you can buy just that, weapons. And then finally, I'm not sure what this one is called, but he sells bats. Oh, you can check out bounties. Feral ghouls in the Mass Pike Tunnel. Well, we're not planning on killing anyone, so we're not going to touch that. And here we can see the sign for Nick Valentine's Detective Agency. I always kind of liked this hallway. I got some shade, it looks kind of dark. The Valentine Detective Agency. Very cool. Excuse me, sir. I think they have their own little farm going on here. Wow. I've never taken much time to look up at the seats. I'm curious what's up there. Let's take a look, shall we? See if these are actual chairs or if they're just images. Yep. Those are just images of chairs. Which does save some resourcing power. And I suppose this is their trash dump that they burn. And this is kind of a small pond that they purify to make some nice clean water. Oh. And here is the Diamond City Radio. I'm curious how they made that, like those letters, or if they just found those, because I've seen how neon is made, and it's not easy. It requires quite a bit of skill and time and resources. Gotta have the glass and the chemicals to make the neon, glow properly in the right color. Pardon me. Oh, excuse me. And here we have the Dugout Inn, where you can get yourself a drink. Let's head up to the upper portion of Diamond City, maybe even the mayor's house. So let's head this way first. These are the nicer houses. The colonial tap house, or is that down there? Oh no, it's this. That's right, it's the nicer bar that's above the Dugout Inn. Oop. I just fell and didn't even realize it. I'm curious about the smokestack in the center, because it does look like a giant engine or some sort of like generator. I wonder what it actually does. Is it a generator? Got a lot of power cables coming off of it. Oh, I think it is. Makes sense. I mean, it is called Power Noodles. So I believe this is actually where Diamond City gets most of its power. It's from this generator they have in the center of the town. Has this nice little noodle shop underneath. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Alright, well now I'm actually going to head up to the mayor's office. There we go. Very cool. Oh, we can get a nice view of Diamond City. I guess Galaxy News Network would reach out this far if it wasn't for the bad like radio system they have set up now. Like it's not as good. There's the mayor's office. Nothing too particularly nice. I do want to check what's through here though. Oh, I see. So it's just the seats, but they don't want you to see that, so they hid it behind some big metal, like big heavy walls. And then what's in here? Just some unused space. Interesting. I guess they couldn't figure out what else to put there, I suppose. Okay, let's head back down. Or back up so that we can bring the elevator back down. For the next person to use, it'd be rude not to take the elevator back down. I wonder how they got that school bus up on top of that building. Because that's probably not light. Probably pretty heavy. Nice hover. There we go. So I'm gonna step back outside and I'll continue with the history of Fallout. But I'm not quite sure I'll finish it all because there's still quite a lot to go through. So let's see here. So I might stop this after I reach 2060. I might read 2060 and call it. So, because I've got this left. So I will walk to we'll walk back up to Concord. Or perhaps Lexington. Where's Lexington again? Is that here? We'll walk there, wherever that is. Okay, let's see here. 2060. Traffic stops on the streets of the world as fuel becomes too precious to waste on automobiles. So alternatives are explored. Electric and fission-powered cars begin to be manufactured, but factories can make limited amounts while conserving fuel. Pressure on fusion research increases. The European-Middle Eastern War abruptly stops as the oil wells in the Middle East no longer produce oil. With the oil fields exhausted, neither side has a reason to continue hostilities. Both the Commonwealth and the Middle Eastern states are almost completely ruined by 8 years of war. The European Commonwealth falls apart, reduced to hostile nation-states fighting over the remaining resources. The European Civil War begins. So in 2060, resources are running pretty thin. They're trying to find alternate ways to power fuel in the United States, but in Europe, it's, they're hostile to each other as they fight for resources. Let's see. The U.S. military deploys their unmanned cargo bots all over Appalachia. The Olympics are held at an unknown region this year in 2060. Interesting. I wonder if the Olympics were held, which is impressive considering such poor, political situations all over the planet. Let's see, and finally, Bradburton is founded in Massachusetts. Bradburton was the doctor that produced Nuka-Cola. Was it? Nope. I can't assist them if they're not attacking anything. Well, I gotta be careful of a few landmines around here. I know there are some. So, oh, here's a wastelander. Just wandering through the feral ghoul infested territory. Excuse me, gentlemen. Pardon me. Oh. Sorry about that. Oh, more landmines. So avoid those. I guess we'll be ending this video with quite a bang. I'm sorry about that. Landmines are kind of a daily occurrence in the wastes. So I've stopped at 2060, and perhaps I'll do another video where I continue, and we will likely reach when the Great War comes to an abrupt end in nuclear fire. But so far the divergent history of Fallout is pretty interesting. There's obviously a lot of missing pieces here and there because it's just a video game, but it's pretty neat. They created artificial intelligence that seems to kind of play with them. It doesn't use all of its full potential, perhaps on purpose. Nuka-Cola was created, which becomes very popular. Oh goodness, more shooting. Very interesting times. And a transistor. The first transistor was made, but I don't think it was used very extensively. Perhaps it was used to make the Pip-Boy. That's why they were able to make such a powerful computer so small. Alright, well, allow me to climb up on top of a building. Let's see here. How about just right here? This is a nice little spot. So, that was a bit of history of Fallout and its timeline. And we explored a good chunk of the Commonwealth wasteland. And explored a few places like the Oceanological Society, where they planned to make a blockade to, protest the war, but they never got the chance. We learned that the European countries fell apart along with the UN due to resource restrictions. And we learned that a little before 2060, they started producing electric infusion cars, or fission cars, with heavy pressure to advance fusion research. Well, thank you very much for watching. And if you liked the video, then please stay tuned for upcoming videos. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to drop a suggestion. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.